The direct definition of hydrogen is it's a zero emission fuel. Zero emission fuel means which does not produce any waste on combustion and which does not create any pollution either. And of course it is good for environment. Hydrogen fuel is also called the fuel of the future. Today, the hydrogen fuel is being used in many ways. For example, in cars, buses, and also in the space vehicles. Hydrogen is found in the first group and in the first line of the periodic table. That's why it is found in the height in the atmosphere. And that is the reason it is available in scarcity in its purest form. Let's move further to the hydrogen fuel and find out how it is made. Hydrogen is a clean fuel, and when it is put in a fuel cell, then it only produces water as a byproduct. Hydrogen is simply produced by some common resources, namely natural gas, atomic energy, biomass, and renewable power like solar and wind. It is this feature of hydrogen that makes it productive and useful for transport and electricity production. It is also used in cars and homes for generating electricity and is used in many other applications. As more and more research is being done, scientists are able to work out its vast variety of applications. Hydrogen is basically utilized as an energy carrier, which is used to store, convert, and deliver the energy being produced from the other resources. Today, hydrogen is produced in various ways, but the most common ways are natural gas reforming, which is a thermal process, and the electrolysis. There are other ways in which the solar and biological processes are involved. So let's go and find out how the hydrogen can be produced. Hydrogen fuel is present in our environment as an energy carrier, and being an energy carrier whose formula is H2, its usage is being leveraged. Moreover, renewable hydrogen production can be divided into two parts. Number one is biological production and number two is chemical production. The biological production of hydrogen has been the interest of research since 1970. Hydrogen can be produced by the biological resources like agriculture and forest residual and waste crop, and of course the consumer waste. Basically, hydrogen is produced by the gasification process where biomass is burned with combustible fuel. There are many physical and chemical processes to produce hydrogen, and the majority of them engages the process of electrolysis of water. When hydrogen is produced by the renewable sources of energy like solar and wind, then it is called the renewable fuel. In these various methods of producing hydrogen, under thermal process category involves the production of steam, where high temperature is used, where steam reacts with the hydrocarbons from its resources, and that's how the hydrogen is produced. And these resources include natural gas, diesel, liquid fuels, gasified coal, and gasified biomass. Today, moreover, 95% of the hydrogen is produced by the steam from the natural gas. The next method comes up as the electrolysis process. With the electrolysis process, the water can be differentiated as the hydrogen and oxygen. This electrolysis process takes place in an electrolyzer in which energy from the hydrogen molecule is not used, and it works opposite to the working of the fuel cell. One electrolyzer makes hydrogen from the water molecule, but since pure form of hydrogen cannot be collected in the bigger quantities, so on the industrial level production, there is a need of primary energy input for which methane or proper electrolysis process is used. The next process comes up as the solar driven process, in which the light is used as an agent. There are in fact many solar driven processes used, but the main processes are photobiological, photoelectronic, and solar thermochemical. Now let's understand the future of the hydrogen fuel. The production of hydrogen is really very large and is an ever-growing industry. Till 2019 in India, there was the production of hydrogen close to 70 million tons, majorly used in the fertilizer production and oil refining. Half of this production was used for producing ammonia, NH3, which is used as a fertilizer, directly or indirectly. Considering the ever-growing economic population, the demand for ammonia is ever increasing. Therefore, the use of ammonia for transport of hydrogen is one of the safest, easy, and the indirect way. Rest of the production of hydrogen is used to convert the heavy petroleum resources to light fuel. This process is called hydrocracking. This hydrocracking takes place on very massive volumes, and because of the increasing cost of petrol, this process attracts a lot the business owners involved. Let us talk about the darker side of the production of hydrogen from the fossil fuels, which emits 830 million tons of carbon dioxide per year, and majority of the vehicle which we are using today either uses diesel, petrol or CNG. So this situation creates our dependence on an alternate fuel which would be renewable and emits least carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So the viable solution seems to be green hydrogen, because green hydrogen can produce extraordinary amount of energy, and that too with the zero emissions. So let's understand first what is green hydrogen. As we mentioned, hydrogen production happens in many ways, and based on the method and source of production, hydrogen is categorized into 4 major categories. The first one is grey hydrogen, which is produced by the methane and coal, where the process is called steam methane reforming. Then we have blue hydrogen, which is exactly as the grey hydrogen, but where 95% of the carbon is captured, stored and reused. The third is turquoise hydrogen, which is produced by the process of pyrolysis. And then we have the green hydrogen, where the renewable energy is used. In the process used is electrolysis. Green hydrogen is the hydrogen where no carbon byproduct is used. In the production, there will be solar power plant which produces electricity, and then this electricity is used to conduct the electrolysis, where the current is passed through the water, that is H2O, and this H2O splits into hydrogen and oxygen, and then this hydrogen is stored and is used to dissipate the energy. So this way hydrogen is not a source of energy but a carrier of energy. So now the question is, why we need green hydrogen and how it would solve the problem of Indian economy? It is because the hydrogen fuel is important for the 3 major industries in Indian economy. Number 1 is steel, then transportation and then chemical industry. In the domain of transportation, the fuel cells can decarbonize the world every single year, and also with the decreasing cost of the production of hydrogen, which would make the transport cheaper. And then we have the shipping and aviation industry, which would need synthetic hydrogen based fuel, which are little far away from the reality now. That's why hydrogen fuel cells are super important, as they would cater heavy duty load which electric vehicles can't cater to the transportation. Another need of hydrogen would be in the steel industry. As India being the second largest producer of the steel, it is one of the most polluting sector of the country, where steel industry contributes to 12% of the total fossil fuel emissions, because steel industries use grey hydrogen as agents which use coal and methane, using steam methane reforming and carbonizing the atmosphere. That's why there is a need to decarbonize the steel industry of India by shifting from grey hydrogen to the green hydrogen. But the concept which can be emphasized today is why we are talking about the process of electrolysis now and not 15 years back, when electrolysis process existed since decades. That is because the cost of energy production through the renewable energy was very high then. If you look at this graph, you will see how the cost of generation of renewable energy has actually changed over the past 10 years. In this graph, you will see that from the year 2009 to 2019, the cost of production of electricity has decreased by just 2%, from $111 to $109 considering the coal. The cost of nuclear has increased by 26%, from $123 to $155. But where the cost of onshore wind has dropped by 70%, going from $135 to just $41. And the cost of solar has decreased by 89%, from $359 to $40 per megawatt. So for the first time in the history of the renewable energy, it looks way cheaper than fossil fuels. And in the next 10 years, this cost is going to go further down, from $41 to maybe $5. So the electrolysis process looks a feasible option to carry, leveraging renewable energy production. Hydrogen has immense application in oil and refinery glass productions, propellant fuels, semiconductors, and much more. That's why hydrogen is super important not only for India but for every single country on the planet.